So you have two dogs, I believe, right? Correct?
Yes.
Rory and
And Puppy, who is the dog behind me.
Rory's a 150-pound Great Dane puppy.
No, no. So I have a dog named Puppy.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. 150-pound puppy. Okay, I got you. No, the puppy is a name.
This is Puppy, small little rat dog, and then Rory is Great Dane, big.
Okay, I got you. So go ahead and fill me in on Rory, and then we can go to puppy.
So Rory is almost 3, and he used to go to the dog park, be fine with that, go to Great Dane meetups. Right as COVID was starting, I used to live in Oklahoma, so that means that there was a lot more space than there is here. Not really close dog interactions and things like that. So right as COVID started, he was attacked by a dog through a fence. And it lasted about 15 minutes before the owner could get their dog off. And me and him were in the little gated area between getting into a dog park, like where you walk in, unleash your dog, and then get in. So we couldn't go anywhere. And since then, he is, I didn't say reactive, but I don't trust him. We've had dogs approach us off leash, and especially if we're like near where we live, he will try and go after him. But if we walk by a dog like on the street or something, he's fine. The problem, of course, is he's 150 pounds, so there's not really wiggle room for if somebody's dog is off leash and runs up to us, like he can do a lot of damage. And so I need to be able to trust him. Is my sound messed up?
It kind of sounds a little funny, but I know what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, I don't have Wi-Fi yet, so I'm on my hotspot. So that's the problem. His size, he's so big that like the other day I was walking him home and somebody had a small dog on one of those extendable leashes, and I could tell she wasn't paying attention. So I went down an alley because I don't want a small dog running into a space. And of course, the small dog follows us, and she wasn't able to get him back. And so it's like, I luckily was able to kind of get out of the way, but I don't know how he would react if that dog had actually gotten in his face. And that's scary, obviously, because he's huge. And so that's my concern really with him, is I need to be able to trust him completely when somebody has a dog that they can't control, because otherwise, I don't know, it's scary for me. I don't want him to hurt anybody. Puppy, super reactive. I don't really care. I don't walk them together usually. I don't really care as much about her because it's a lot easier for me to avoid with her. She's small, she's old, so she doesn't really go on long walks. The only reason I would want to get her trained is if her bad behavior somehow affects Rory.
I see. And is it puppy or poppy?
Puppy, like a baby dog.
I got you. Okay. And then how old is puppy again?
She's like 10.
Oh, okay. And then Rory is 3, you said, correct?
Yeah, just about 3.
And then kind of going back to Rory, sorry. You said Rory actively goes towards dogs and lunges at them, or he's trying to? Oh, he doesn't. Okay. So what if he only sees a dog?
He will. So we just moved in. He's been here for literally a day, and if he sees a dog in the apartment complex, he'll kind of like low bark, not lunge or anything, but he does react a little bit. If we're walking on the street, nothing other than him sniff the air, kind of following the dog. Mm-hmm. I don't do any like he has zero interaction with other dogs. in terms of like leash greeting or going to a park or any type of like real close interaction, I don't do.
Okay. And your goals for Rory are one, to have control if something were to happen, correct?
Mhm.
And what is another goal, socializing him?
Yeah, he's definitely very nervous.
Okay.
And there's just so much going on here that it's like he was already kind of like an anxious dog in Oklahoma. So here is, you know, like the noises and stuff. He's
Oh yeah.
jumping around and yeah.
How's you moved in today or yesterday?
No, like he came yesterday. He was being
Oh,
while I was moving in.
okay. And how's he doing now, like in your apartment or?
He's doing okay. He cries. I can hear him crying when I leave. Like if I leave him here, he usually would like he's crate trained. I haven't set up his crate and he's fine out also. So
Good.
yeah.
Okay. Um, anything else about Rory I should know?
He does, so he resource guards with the small dog. I'm able to prevent it just by like, you know, not having his treats or toys, bones, etc. out when I'm not like actively monitoring. But if he has her over things like that, he hasn't caused any like actual punctures or anything, but it's like an attack.
Okay.
Yeah. That's something I've been able to manage, but
Okay. Anything else about Rory?
maybe his leash skills. He's a little annoying. He's been in training before, kind of knows heel. It's not perfect, and it's a lot of on the prong collar, like the pop correction. And it would be nice to be able to just without constantly doing that.
Yeah. Okay. And then when was the last time he had a interaction with a stranger dog?
Like intentional one.
Positive or negative? Yeah.
Negative, probably within the last couple of weeks. In Oklahoma, there's dogs off leash all the time. So dogs would like run up to us, and he does not, especially when we were at the place we lived, did not react well. Like aggressive in a way that I have not seen him.
And what does he do? Is he just like lunging and barking, or?
Yeah, and growl, like a deep growl. Yeah, I just boarded him at Found. I am unclear on what happened there because one person told me he was playing with other dogs and one person told me he wasn't. Like they didn't put him with other dogs, so I don't know.
Okay.
So it's possible he did okay. I've asked, I haven't gotten clarification on that, so I don't know. Which
Okay.
is, yeah.
Yeah. So like, it makes it like so much more easier to make a dog social if they had been social before, right?
Mhm.
It would have been different if like he was never social and like you wanted them to make him social, you know. So that's a good thing to hear. And then what else? And then when was the last time with you like he played with a dog or like had a positive interaction with a dog prior to the?
A while, probably like a year and a half.
Okay.
He went, so I worked at a dog daycare after I'm a teacher, and so I had a part-time job at a dog daycare. So he would go with me. He was really socialized. He would go to the park, Great Dane meetups, all this stuff. And then kind of stopped.
Because of the attack, right?
Yeah, and after seeing kind of a couple like more aggressive things like that, with dogs coming up to us, I didn't feel comfortable just letting him roam free.
Okay. And then puppy, 10 years old. Oh, he was she, right?
Yeah, she.
She was just chilling right there. She left. But puppy, 10 years old, reactive. Um, and you're only looking to address her behavior if will affect Rory's, right?
Yeah. She she can go to daycare. Like she was at daycare the other day because I was moving. She does fine. She just on leash if we walk by another dog, she will go crazy. But it's easy for me to avoid. She's small. She like has a bad back, so she doesn't walk a long time.
Oh, I see.
Like
Yeah. 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 And she's 10 years old too, so it's kind of personal preference. Like, yeah, she's, because she's 10, and plus she's also can't go for longer walks, right? You said. Okay. Um, anything else? Anything else?
maybe so we've done some training. We did one training with kind of like one of those chains and like training chain type places, franchises. Um, it was with somebody who I think was a little bit scared of Rory, and so I just stopped. It wasn't worth it. Of like, he's huge, probably weighed more than her, and so one thing I guess I should also mention is when I'm with a trainer and we are in a training session and the trainer takes Rory's leash and tries to separate from me, he will start jumping, panting, shaking, like really, really it. Um, and so that it didn't work out with that. We like started e-collar. I don't think the e-collar was introduced the right way, because he would also start jumping around, like going crazy about the e-collar. Then more recently, we did obedience training. He did fine with that. The heel is like, he's not 100% of the time doing it on the first request, but it was fine. And that
Okay.
was well.
Okay. Do you remember the like it doesn't matter. Let's see here. Okay. Did he ever like redirect? It sounds like he was a little bit frustrated with because sometimes when we do that here, like for our recall exercise, we need to create separation for the owner to kind of do the recall, right? If they don't have another partner, we do it, we help them out. And sometimes when we do that, they start to freak out, the dogs, and then like they'll nip at us because they're frustrated. Has Rory ever redirected with bites or anything like that to like the leash, the trainer, or anything like that?
No biting, but just the big, you might be able to see him. A big jump.
Okay, a big jump. Okay, I got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes it a lot easier too. Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. And then you said you have Rory on a prong currently, and then puppies on a
Little harness.
prong, little harness. Okay. Cool. And your goals, like I said, socializing, more control, leash skills, and what about the resource garden? Is that something you want to address, or is that another priority of yours? Is that not the main focus, or what's your
if it's possible to address it, I would love to, just because like I prevent it, but still, I mean, he's probably done it 3 times. He's gone after the small dog, which I don't like,
yes.
and it's scary. So if it's possible, if that's something that can be addressed, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. So yeah, moving from the middle of Las Space suburb area to the city is definitely a big change for dogs. Just like you said, what you're noticing right now, just like the noise, the energy, and everything is just can be stressful for dogs. And for Rory, it's mostly just like getting acclimated to the new apartment or the new home, and then like the new city and like noises and all these different things, and then you have to like you exit your home, and then you have to go to these buildings with other dogs around. He just has to get used to that. It takes about, it depends on the dogs, but usually an average like 3 weeks to a dog get fully acclimated to like a new environment. But everything that Rory is kind of going through is pretty much normal for dogs going through that experience. The dog attack, like we said, it's going to be a lot more easier for him to go back to being social and looking dogs as like a positive, way. One, because you'll have more control with the tools that we will have you using, and then the variable is just like if that off leash dog is like, what they're doing, and like, Jesse has a video with a lesson, and they're doing recall, and this dog was reactive, and in the middle of the lesson, I think it was like a schnauzer. It was like a medium-sized schnauzer. Wasn't those big ones, but he was running towards the dog, and then Jesse was able to kind of get in front of it and clap and say, "Hey," and like their dog, our client's dog lunged and like did the whole like everything, and like that dog did not care. He was just still trying to like play and everything, but he was like very like trying to get close, and Jesse was calling them off and everything, and finally he ran away. But then the owner's just kind of like standing there like, "Hey, come here, come here, come here." And then the dog comes back, and then he still doesn't leash him with the dog. He's just kind of like walking away. And then Jesse's walking away, and then the dog comes back. And then, and then Jesse's like, "Leash up your dog, dude." And like, then like, he still didn't even like do anything. They just like walked away. And it was just like, we have a lot of stories about like, in our sessions where we just get off leash dogs. And we've had incidents here when we're walking and doing our pack walks, we walk like 6 dogs at the same time. And we had an incident out here where there was an off-leash dog, and I had 6 dogs on me. And it was just, we've had a lot of experience with that. And it's just very like you can do, it just sucks because you can do all this work and your dog is good. And then like something happens, and it's just like, well, now we're, you know what I mean? It's just a very, very annoying how people like, do these things without leashes and everything like that. And it's just funny that there's like at the parks and everything, I'll see these off-leash dogs, and then like there's like signs that say leash your dog, but then there's like cops driving through the park, and like I'm like, I guess it's just allowed. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, like, oh, I'm sorry, what?
No, I was just gonna say, like, if he was like a little 50-pound dog, I would be like, it's fine. But he's 3 times that size, so if he wants to cause some damage, he can cause some damage.
Yeah, and in the city of Chicago, I'm pretty sure, if the dog's off leash and your dog is leashed, and then your dog comes to you, and your dog does damage to that dog, the person who has no leash is the one that's gonna, be at fault. And I also think that, I don't know, do you guys have a yard over there, like a backyard area, like a courtyard or anything like that?
A courtyard, yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense. But there's another law where it's like if you have a backyard and your dog is off leash, and like someone like puts their hand over the fence and they get bit, you're liable because your dog was still off leash in your own backyard. Yeah, that's how it is in the city of Chicago. So just a heads up, if you ever like, I don't know, move in the backyard or have a backyard eventually, that is also a law.
Bunker it off.
Yeah. Cool. So, what else? Yeah, and it doesn't sound like Rory's even like reactive. It's just like when he gets in those moments, then he's gonna be, he's gonna fight back, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it's like, if our dogs are getting in a dog fight, I am not going to hold my dog back because I want my dog to do everything that they can to like defend themselves in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
So it gets very like confusing, and it's just when these dogs are coming at you and everything, just like what to do, and like what the owner's doing and all these other things. So that's good that there's no reactivity. I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, I can tell I'm like a little bit delayed. My instinct though is usually to pull him, which I know is like what you do in like a dog, like the actual intentional fighting. So my instinct is wrong too, because it just, I'm sure, aggravates him, is my understanding of like pulling him off.
It's also going to be hard for you to pull up either way because he's a Great Dane, I believe. So how,
Yeah.
like, how tall is he? Like,
Probably like up hip, I don't know,
okay, hip.
hip height. Yeah. He's not
Yeah.
the biggest Great Dane, probably like mid-size.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Because, like, yeah, pulling back escalates, right? And pulling up de-escalates. So if you have to pull up, but if he's a Great Dane, he's probably gonna go up with the pressure. You're probably not gonna, it's gonna be very difficult, but like it would be pulling up. And like I said, we'll give you like the tools and knowledge to kind of handle those situations. Yeah. Alrighty. Um, have you done, I'm assuming you did research on us and like the tools we use and everything like that. Yeah. Do you, and you also sounds like you have familiarity with the e-collar training. What kind of e-collar, do you remember the brand they used over?
I have it. I could look it up, but I don't know.
Oh, you have it still.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a yellow remote or something?
It's like a bright orange circle with like a little antenna.
Oh, okay. It's probably e-collar technologies. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. It depends on the model because there's different models. There's like the mini, there's like the educator, and there's like the boss. With the boss is like for big dogs. Sometimes, since like a lot of trainers are for some reason really promoting the mini educator, so sometimes like we'll get a dog here that's for daycare. Like the dog's like, oh, I have an e-collar, okay, and like it's like a pity who's like really a tank with a mini educator. These mini educators are used for like small dogs, so like it doesn't really make sense how this would work, or and we've also seen like, I mean, I bought a mini educator before for my German Shepherd, and like I remember just being on like 100, and she's just like, I don't care, like it's not doing anything to her, because she's that collar is not meant for her. So we would have to see like what model you have, and then we may, since because we like to use Dogtra. That is our brand we love to use. Jesse's been using it for many, many years. He's also used other brands, and he's also used Econ Technologies. It's like Dogtra, and then Econ Technologies is like his, second go-to if it's there. Issue is sometimes the feeling is different. So the Econ Technologies has like a sharper feeling. So the dogs will be a little bit more edgy, but it's like here and there, it's not nothing crazy, but like you'll just notice a difference. I notice a difference when like a dog came with a mini educator or the educator, and then like it died one day, and we had to use our Dogtra brands, and like she was like different. Like it was she was very different with that brand. But like I said, it's only with some dogs, and they're both very good brands. So it wouldn't be an issue if we were to use your collar that you have already, or you also have the choice to go with Dogtra. It's up to you, personal preference. And we also have to make sure it's the appropriate model for Rory.
Yeah, I'm curious about the difference because he would like go nuts on it, like running around in circles, like just absolute crazy. And it's very possible it was introduced incorrectly.
Remember how they introduced it?
It was just like sit, 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 like a million times until he would do it.
Okay. And then like, do you remember like the numbers they were using, or?
It was like at 30 and below, probably.
Okay.
Like 30-ish when we were in public in like a busy place. At home would be like 12.
Okay, I see. All right. Yeah, so e-collar is the same technology that is used on humans. So have you ever been to a physical therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that have you ever had TENS unit, like a stem or anything like that? Yeah, that's e-collar. That same feeling, a muscle contractor is what is on the collars for dogs. So it's used on humans, and like the way they kind of go about it is like, the physical therapist will say, I think they say like, let me know when it's too much or too uncomfortable. Once it's reached that point for the client lets them know, and then they lower it 2 levels down, and they let the machine do its work. That's very similar to how we kind of go about it. You know, like our brand, the e-collar Technologies has 100 levels, I believe. Our brand has 127. So it's the same output, just different. We have more breaks. We have more numbers to be more specific. And there's other models out there as well that maybe go up to 10, right? So think of 10 and 100 on your collar and 127 on our collar. They're all the same power. But we, e-collar Technologies and Dogtra, both have more numbers to be more specific to the personality, the breed, the environment, the scenario, everything like that. So that's why we really enjoy e-collar Technologies and Dogtra, because of that, those numbers, and just how it feels as well. What else? I'm pretty sure, I think e-collar Technology is waterproof. They're rechargeable. You don't need batteries for them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you already know these things about e-collar. You kind of already know what it is. The way we would teach it is just like kind of finding Rory's number, right? The number that's going to cause worry. But there's also like a different way we do it. We don't kind of force a command right away, and definitely we don't really start with sit. We start with the heel command, right? So our version of heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. So if we take 5 steps with Rory, Rory takes 5 steps. If we take 10, Rory takes 10. If we come to a stop, Rory is to automatically sit with no words said. And this is all done with a slack leash in any environment with that much focus. And Rory's, we like traditional's left side on the dogs on the left side walking. So his right shoulder should be parallel to your left leg. So it should be parallel, never going ahead, never falling back. That's how strict our walking command is. We like to teach this command first because it allows the dog to understand the pressure on and pressure off concept. When you're here, it goes away. When you're going over there, it turns on, right? A lot of trainers will teach heel like they walk forward and then they say heel, or like if the prong, heel, pull, heel, pull, heel, pull, or at the e-collar, heel, tap, tap, heel, tap, tap. And they're like walking forward. And then for us, Jesse hates that way because it doesn't allow, there's too many dots to connect for the dog. So it's like they have to hear the word heel, they're getting pulled back, tap, 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 and they're getting pulled back here, and they're just like, okay, heel, tap, tap. And it's just a lot. The way we teach it, if you watch our videos, we correct to redirect. So you'll see us going back in a straight line, or like in the in-person clients, the clients are going back and like in this back and forth in a line, because as they pass, we don't say heel, we just tap, 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 and redirect them coming back to us, because they're walking forward, they're walking, and they feel this, do, okay, what's this feeling? Oh, mom's going that way. Okay, let me go catch up. Oh, it goes away. Oh, okay, I understand. I need to be here. Versus just kind of pulling them back and repeating heel when they don't know heel, obviously, if you're constantly pulling them back or correcting them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's how we would kind of go about it. And with this heel, a lot of things can happen. So when we hear like a lot of leash popping and a lot of tapping going on, if the dog has been taught heel, that's already telling us that there's not concern for it, kind of. So like when you pop, Rory's probably like, okay, like, there's probably no concern for that. So with the e-collar, we have to create cautious behavior in order to have him kind of close out and dial down of like the environment and kind of be focused, like, oh, okay, I need to focus on mom. I can't worry about, these cars driving by, these dogs walking past, or like the off-leash dogs, or any like the environment. I need to dial down and like focus here, because it can be sometimes be like it could be overstimulating for him to kind of just walk into a park and like cars going everywhere and like baseball games and all these things going on. So with this e-collar, the way we teach the heel, it's very strict. So it's so strict that everything else doesn't matter, just you. Does it make sense? Like that's why it's so important, why we see so many things, just so many behaviors just end up going away, because we've applied the right amount and appropriate amount of pressure and discipline to Rory. And we've also given Rory a job to do on these walks. Does it make sense?
Yeah. One thing, I've been walking him on the right side just simply because he's stronger on the right side. So like if something happens, I can control him more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then what kind of prong collar do you have?
Springer, I think.
Good, yeah. So you'll keep that prong collar. You can still have that with the e-collar. Nothing wrong with that. Just so you have that control if like you turn a corner or there's a dog, you have that prong instead of like looking at your remote and kind of finding the number or like, you know, filling around the remote, you have that leash immediately. So for the socializing, is Rory muzzle conditioned?
No. He has previously used just a gentle leader, so familiar with the feeling of something on his face.
Oh, that's good.
I have just like out of my own laziness, I haven't done anything with the muzzle.
Okay. So we probably want to muzzle him in case something happens, you know, just being on the safe side. And it could be like a liability thing, you know, and all that
I would
stuff.
definitely feel more comfortable like with that.
Yeah. So the brand we use is called Baskerville. It's our favorite because it's like a basket, right? So it allows the dogs to open their mouth and pant. They can drink water from it. They can eat food. They can take treats if you want to give them a treat with it. So it's important for them to open their mouth to release stress. Because if we do like the closed one, they can't open their mouth, so they're just like holding everything in, and we also can't tell if they're, you know, releasing the stress or like what's going on. So we need to see that mouth open, and sometimes it also allows dogs to think they can use their mouth. So if the mouth is shut closed, they're probably thinking, I can't even open my mouth, I can't do anything. But when we allow room for them to open their mouth, sometimes we can see what they're thinking. They can do it because they think, oh, I can open my mouth. Let me try to bite this dog because I think I have control of my mouth. So we can see certain behaviors still come up with the muzzle on. Baskerville, I believe, I know for our Great Danes, it was a size 6 for the muzzle. And I think that's as high as it goes. I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure, you know, they have size charts on the Amazon for Baskerville.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a size 6. If there's a 7, it's probably one of those two. But since Rory's kind of, you know, not the like, you know, not super big, he might be. It's gonna be different. So you have to measure him, trying to see the you know, the charts and everything. We've had issues where clients would go with the chart and they get the muzzle and it's either too small or too big. It's mostly just smaller ones. So if you want, you can get like one small one, one big one. Whichever one doesn't fit, you can return it. Just make it easier in case. And there's plenty of muzzle conditioning videos on how to do it and everything. And I'm pretty sure you have some familiarity with it too, just like using food with the muzzle and positive association and all these other good things. And you would want to start that as soon as possible. So by the time we get to like the socialization part of the training program, that Rory has already had some familiarity with the muzzle and that it's not like this new thing as well. Because e-collar is a stressor, the muzzle is a stressor, and then we're introducing a dog, which is another stressor. So 3 stressors. So if we can get that muzzle kind of not too brand new to him, then it can go smoother. The reason why e-collar is stress is because no one likes being disciplined, right? So then it brings out a stress response. So if Rory stress response was kind of you know, flight and everything, or maybe he got anxious, right? E-collar isn't making your dog anxious or flighty. Your dog was already anxious. We're just seeing it in response because this is stressing him out. So that's his stress response to that moment or that feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? So the socialization, like I said, it sounds like you know, if found, I feel like if Fawn was having serious issues, they'd probably be like, yeah, there was like a dog fight. You know, they would probably say something like crazy like that. But if one was like, yeah, he didn't play, you know, it sounds very like nothing serious, you know, like one was like, yeah, he played. And
well, so the problem is one person told me they let him in a yard with other dogs and he did fine. One person told me they didn't have him interact at all. Like they just walked him by himself.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know, and I've asked and I haven't gotten clarity yet, which is like a little frustrating because it's like important in my opinion. So I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
has or has not interacted with dogs yet.
I got you. And then what else we have? Resource guarding. That can be covered as well if you like. It's just like you said, the easiest way to go about it is just like preventing it. And like, feeding them separately, avoiding, high value rewards near them, Rory and Puppy. But we can also go over that with e-collar. E-collar with resource guarding is a lot more, is the best way to go about it, because other ways trainers go about is like, they'll put the food down, say leave it, and then leash pop or something like that. Or like they do something that is very confrontational, because dogs, it sounds funny, but like if you hold a stick and you poke it at a dog, that dog thinks it's you. So whatever they're gonna do when you actually touch them is what they're gonna do with the stick. So if they're like smelling the stick or they're not caring about it, that's what they're gonna do with your hand. So like if we hold a stick to a dog and they start biting it and attacking it, well, I'm expecting that's what's gonna happen when I put my hand next to that dog. Mm-hmm. So where was it going with that? I'm not sure. So when we correct a dog while they're resource guarding, they see the leash that we're holding it and it's attached. So they see us actively correcting them when they want something. So they're thinking, oh, we're fighting for this food, we're arguing. And then that's where you get the confrontational behavior, because you're confronting that. And if they're really into the resource guarding, they're like, I don't, that's what's usually with humans, right? But it's still like, not that's unhealthy, but it's just very confrontational. It's not the best way to go about resource guarding. Mm-hmm. So that's how Cesar Milan got bit, I think, where he was like, I don't know if you saw that, where he got bit by like a lab or something. He got bit by a lab, and because he was kind of like right there hovering over the food, and the dog saw that, snarled, and I think he went for a physical correction with his hand. He's like, oh, this is a fight. And then he bit his hand, and then like he was kicking him and everything like that. But with e-collar, we can teach him how to leave items alone if we see him. So like, for example, you're playing ball with Rory and Puppy, and then, let's say you had Puppy tethered or something. This is an example. And then you're playing ball with Rory, you're taking turns with them. And then let's say Rory gets out of the tether, goes for the ball. You can kind of, at least if you have control for Rory, or Puppy's going for the ball, or the other way around, you have that e-collar to kind of stop that behavior. Like, you don't go for that ball, you come back to me, or you correct it, right? So there's been a lot of instances where, like at Oz Park, like clients will tell us like, yeah, we were playing ball, but then he like went for another ball, but I use a remote to cut that, to prevent that in that moment, to have more control in case something like that were to happen. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so I have a couple questions. Like I don't have an opinion on what type of training I would prefer, like of the options that you all offer. So if you have like a recommendation on what would be best, that would be helpful. And then I have a car right now. I really want to it. And so I need to figure out like logistically for different things. Because one of the reasons I moved here is because I hate driving. Like I know there's ways like you can like rent cars and stuff, but figuring out what the best way is to, and I actually live near like one of the facilities, but I don't think it's like the main one.
What's the town?
It's like Wrigleyville is where I live. I think it was like Park or something.
Oh yeah, that's I know what you're talking about. That's not the facility. The facility is the one in Logan Square, so we're more south.
Okay.
You're in Wrigleyville, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have the in-person program where it's like the one-on-one. So I'll run through the program. So in person is the one-on-one. We're operating at Oz Park. So that's in the city. We also offer in-home. So for in-person, we don't touch the dog. You do all the work. We're just coaching you and verbally instructing you, because at the end of the day, you're the one going to be handling the dog, not us. And we already know what we're doing because we're dog trainers. So it's just kind of like telling you, this is how you do it. And you're also learning so much more because you're troubleshooting the e-collar, you're finding out more about Rory, and you're just doing all the work from the ground up. So you're getting more knowledge, you're getting more you're becoming like Rory's trainer technically, right? So everything happens depending on the program you end up choosing for the in-person. So in-person we have the 6-week, the 9-week, and the 12-week. So think of the 6-week as like, I walk my dog around the block and I need recall when he's at the dog park, and then I go home. The 9-week is you walk your dog around the block. You need that structured walk. You need recall, and then you also go to outdoor patios and you need him to lay down and not move for an hour or two. The 12-week is basically all those things, and then you take him off leash hiking, and you need him off leash reliable. So you'd probably be more in the realm of, so it'd be 2 classes for the heel, the walking command. 2 classes in for recall. Are you looking for recall? I didn't hear you mention it or anything. I'm not.
I don't really ever let him off leash, like because there's dogs around everywhere. But I'm sure it would be helpful, like in case he ever slips off or something.
Yes, exactly. That's one of the more important reasons for recall, is in case you have that command. So it wouldn't be a priority, but 2 classes heel, and then what can happen after those 2 classes, we can see how he's doing with kind of dog interactions. Maybe we can bring a dog to a lesson that's high energy and seeing how he takes that. Like, we do a little socialization exercises, and then depending how that's going, we can like start to do more socializing. Do you have any friends in the city that like own a dog, or?
I know one person here, and her dog, he has a dog, but their dog has behavior issues.
Oh, okay.
Like they're not like super like controlling. So I feel comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So we can see if we can bring a dog to you.
Oh, I thought of another thing I would love.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to live in a studio, never had anybody over, and I would love to have Rory. We've never had like a house guest before, like, and now I live in like a nicer place, and so I'd love for him to be okay with people entering and like here. And it's possible he's fine with that. I just don't know because I've literally never done it.
Okay. That sounds good. Let me see. We have an exercise for that as well. Okay. Oh wait, what happened here? Guys entering. Okay. So you most likely be in like the 9-week program, 2 classes heel, and then just doing a lot of socializing, so that they take like maybe like 3 classes, 5. So you have 4 left. So 1 class could be the in-home, or maybe 2 classes seeing in-home. If we do 1 class at in-home and if we find out that he's fine, then that probably can only be 1 class. And then you have 3 classes here, so then 2 would be recall, and then this 1 class here we can see how everything is going, and you can learn another command if you want. But it's good to have wiggle room, and you can always like do the 6-week. So it'd be 2 classes heal, 2 classes recall, and you have 3 classes left. So 2 can be socializing, and 1 can be the door exercise of guests entering their home. And if you find that we need more, you can always buy more classes. Like we have a 3-pack, you can buy a 3-pack, or if you want to just play it safe and have a lot of wiggle room in case it's something takes a while to progress, you have that 9-week program there. So it's kind of like, you know, up to you how you want to go about that. Um, and then it's, for example, Sundays, let's say you choose a 9 week, Sundays, 1 p.m. for an hour, 9 times plus one. That plus one is in case you have to reschedule, like it rains or something happens. You know, you have that time slot reserved for you, that extra time slot that no one can take away. So then after you have used that extra time slot, you have to wait to get back on the calendar and for more availability there. But it's only an hour a week. We give you one topic at a time, just so we don't overload you with information like that. And then if you wanted to do in-home, we can just like work out in front of your building, or if there's like a close by park or something that's like populated with dogs, we can do that as well. Or if you do want to work something out, we do operate at Oz Park. And Oz Park is like the busiest park in the city, so that there's always dogs everywhere. There's rollerblades, there's scooters, people, joggers, everything is there. There's other reactive dogs, everything is there. It's a really big park. So if you wanted to get exposure in that environment, you can as well. What else about in person?
So do you think that the lessons like that are better than board and train for his issues?
It's personal preference. He doesn't really have anything super intense. Because the other issue would be, okay, we take your dog and then your dog is fine. Like there's no issues, because usually when owners give the dogs away and they're separated, they're like different. So if we see that, and then like sometimes owners get frustrated because they're like, because we'll tell them and we're like, we have like, there was one, the dog came here and like they saw their videos and like they're like, that's not my dog. Like my dog is anxious. My dog, and that dog was just calm. He was just like, I'm here, you know. And then like so for the board trains and daycare trains, we have follow-up lessons. Once I did the follow-up lesson with them, then I saw who Moose really was. He was like really like anxious and a little bit of reactivity. And dude, he didn't bark here once. Wow. And then we get over there and he starts barking. I'm like, oh my, I haven't heard a noise out of this dog. So, and it can get frustrating when owners are hearing, yeah, we're not noticing anything. They're just like, why is he everything? You know, it can get frustrating for them. So, but either way, we still have in-person lessons with board and trains and daycare and trains, where we do see, you know, we teach them how to handle these situations and what to do. Pros and cons for board and trains and daycare and trains: we get it done faster. Everything is recorded, so you'll see, you know, all heel, stay, sit down, place, come, all these commands on video. So you'll see how he's taking the e-collar. We record all of our socialization lessons, so we have dogs here all the time. So it just depends if like, because we have to use certain dogs, and some with these dogs who like have a certain demeanor and everything like that. So if you know, for a few days, if we don't have any dogs like that, then he wouldn't be getting socialized because there's no one that would be fitting for him in those exercises. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'm the issue, honestly. I think that I freak out that he's gonna freak out, and then so I'm sure that it's probably more beneficial for me to be there, because I just get anxiety when the dog is coming near us, and then he reacts probably.
Yeah.
So in terms of like doing the muzzle, like would it be possible for sometimes for him to, if once he's muzzle trained, to like go there and see if he does okay? Because ideally I would love for him to be able to play again with dogs, because it tires him out, and I think he liked it. And like I don't even know like what he would do in that situation. So is that something possible, like once he is muzzle trained, to try and get him reintroduced to like an environment like that?
Oh yeah. Well, we can do that here. Yeah. Okay. We can even have like a follow-up session of how a follow-up session could be you come to our facility and we teach you how to socialize him with dogs, and like we put him in a play group, and then you get to see how he's taking dogs, and like you're there with him and we can see what changes. So another pro, so I explained how like, it's frustrating hearing your dog is like different here than with you. But another pro could be that we teach the foundation of everything, right? Your dog isn't going to come out of this board and train program like a new car or anything like that. There's still going to be Rory. It's just now you have tools to address certain behaviors. So we layer in the foundation so that he already knows what to do when you press a button. So it's a lot less stressful for you if, how to explain? Because it's already there. All you have to do is we have to teach you, versus where you're kind of going through the process, and maybe he could be a little difficult because he is with you, so that we can see different things. But it's depending on the dog. It depends on like, just the dog. So that's like another possibility that, even though you're stressed, he already knows what to do, so he knows what to do on his end, versus like you don't know what to do and he doesn't know what to do. But then like that's what the in-person's there for. So we're there teaching you. So then it balances out here and there. So the pros and cons are there's just a lot of pros and cons for different programs, obviously. But like I said, everything is filmed. You get those follow-up lessons, so like you're getting that one-on-one still with Rory and the trainer here.
How far in advance are you all looking out? And then also follow up to that, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks over the holidays, and so I want to make sure that the place that he trains, he can also board, because he like starves himself. So it would be ideal if he like was familiar with the people, so he hopefully.
Yeah. Don't know how far booked we are. We are really busy with board and trains. I know there's one point where I think like early August where we'll have a lot of dogs. I'm trying to think. What were you thinking?
I'm flexible. I think I'm leaning towards lessons. I think just because
In person?
Yeah, like I think he's better behaved without me there. So I think that's probably better.
Okay, yeah. So the in-person can happen soon. If you're wanting him to kind of get acclimated to the environment before you board him, we recommend you doing the evaluation process for our daycare. So evaluation is a 3-day process. First day, your dog is just, pretty much getting walked around the facility with all the handlers for that day. And we use slip leashes or prong if he has a prong. And we're just walking him around the facility, having him getting used to us and the environment. So that's day 1. We also can teach him how to walk on a treadmill. And we've done it with a few Great Danes before, so it wouldn't be nothing new to us. And then he also gets some free time in it, his own free time in like the playpen area, so he can stretch his legs and all that stuff. Day 2 would be him, and same thing again, but we're now introducing a dog, like a little socialization exercise where we do a lot of butt sniffing and like walking around each other and everything like that. And we're using different dogs with different personalities, seeing like, male, female, intact males or intact females, or puppy like energies, or like just like neutral dogs, like how he's with all these different personalities. And then day 3 is when we start to introduce him to like seeing how he is with one-on-one play session. If that's going great, we'll start slowly introducing the dogs that he's comfortable with, and then we'll integrate him into like a play group, and then we'll see how he does. So if you wanted to get that done before you board him, you can, and then you also need to have some training done with him with me or Jesse, whoever you decide to go with. And when you said holidays, you're talking about
like Christmas.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about what's that one coming up?
Oh, like
Memorial Day.
yeah, I think Memorial Day. No,
Yeah.
September.
You're talking about Christmas. Okay. Okay. So yeah, if you can also, yeah, so then that should work. And then you can also, like, do daycare here and there. And since you're in Wrigleyville, I believe we do transportation as
Oh,
well
really?
in the area. So if you're unable to drive, we can go to you and pick up Rory, and puppy if you want puppy. We do have daycare time, but yeah, we do have transportation. So yeah, you can do the evaluation whenever you'd like. If you know you're gonna board in December, yeah, whenever you like, and then you would have to have at least, like, realistically, although we say 3 days for the evaluation process, it's us getting to know your dog and your dog to getting to know the environment and seeing how they are. So we've had one case where a dog, it was her second day, and we were doing a pack walk, and we heard she was social, whatever. And then she lunged at one of our dogs that we were getting ready for. So we're like, okay, we gotta take it slow. So it took her half her 20-day bundle, or maybe the full 20-day bundle, for her to finally open up and start playing with dogs.
Wow.
So, we really take our time, and, like, if we keep the owners updated and everything. But realistically, it takes a little longer for your dog to get fully acclimated, depending how they are behavior wise, and, like, how they are. But for Rory, if I was gonna say depending on found, but, like, since I don't know how he was at found, but we'll see how he is the those 3 days. But then, you knowing Rory and us knowing Rory now, it wouldn't be that much of a surprise if he's not getting along with the dogs or anything like that.
Mhm.
Has he ever had any incidents with humans, or no? Just like once there's that separation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like if I'm there and somebody takes his leash, he that's like a freak out, but never like aggressive towards a human or anything.
Okay, how is he when did you just drop him off at found, or did they come pick him up, or how did
I
that work?
just dropped him off and he was fine. I told him I was like, he might freak out, but he walked with the person. So I
Okay.
don't know what it is. It might be man. I don't know. Because the trainer that we had before was a man, and so he has less exposure to men. He's only been raised by me.
Oh,
Um,
I see.
so it's possible it's that. I don't know.
Okay. If that happens, what we usually do is we just let the owner bring the dog in and kennel them up, and then once they leave, the dog's, like, fine. So if that happens, we can do that. So board and train, I talked about board and train, and then that's what the program you're interested in, and then it talked about in person. That's what you're interested in, and then, like, boarding in the future. You want to do the evaluation whenever you can. We offer transportation. He would need some training, but since you're all in Christmas area, you'd probably be fine. What else? Any other questions?
Oh, Oz Park is only like a mile and a half, so I could honestly just walk in there.
Oh, nice. That's really good. That's good to hear.
That's easy.
Yeah. So for puppy, what do you think? Or I don't need an answer now, but
Really only if she somehow is exacerbating his behavior, which I'm sure he learned everything from her,
mhm.
but I don't walk them together because it's just too much. But if like that's doing enough, and as long as he doesn't deal with her reacting badly, he'll be fine. Then it's just, I don't think it's worth it. She's like hides in the closet all day. Like she's just
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Yeah, okay, sounds good. Um, Anything else?
no, this was super helpful.
Um,
So do I just call the front desk to find out like scheduling or?
that's for board and train. For in person, you and I will schedule that together. So basically, how it works is consultation happens. After the consultation, a follow-up email from me will be sent to you either tonight or tomorrow night. basically talking about the in-person programs we talked about, the prices. The e-collar I recommend. Oh, you got the. Let me know what kind of model you have for the educator. So I'll still email you the model we recommend with the Amazon link, and then you can also purchase from us if you want. Let me know again the model so that we can see if that's the right one if you wanted to use that. And then
and I'll try and order a muzzle or
yes,
2 muzzles. Right?
yeah, Baskerville. And then I'll. Sorry.
They're on Amazon.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'll also send you a form of for agreements that needs to be signed before we start training. So once that form is signed and ready for sent, you'll let me know your availability, and then we work with that. Then we can begin billing and booking. Cool. Anything else?
No, this was, as I said, really, really helpful. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. There are 2 more questions that clients usually have that ask that are kind of common for the consultation, but if you don't have time, I can send over as an email.
Oh no, I have time. I'm trying to look at, do you mind if I just send you the link to this muzzle to make sure it's the right one?
I think I have. Let me see. There should be one in this room. One sec. So it's I think it is a size 6. Looks like that.
Does it say ultra muzzle?
Ultra muzzle, yes.
Okay.
Size 6.
Okay, yeah. I will have that shortly.
Cool. So really quick, 2 common questions. Is after training, when is is the e-collar on all day, or if when does the e-collar come off, or like how does that work? So it's on when you need it. So if you're gonna go for a walk with Rory, it's gonna be on because again we can't predict what's gonna happen on this walk, so we can't predict if there's gonna be an off-leash dog running towards us. So if that happens, we at least have that e-collar to kind of control him and settle him down, than like using just the prong collar. Or let's say since he's still getting acclimated to the city, let's say a car crash happens next to you and he's like, whoa, I'm out of here. And let's say he bolts and it catches you off guard, like the prong collars break here and there. So let's say the prong collar breaks, or like the leash slips out of your hand. You have that e-collar to override the mind when it's in flight mode. Because when dogs are in flight mode, they're thinking kill or be killed. So Rory, come back is not going to make him come back because he's running for his life. So that's where the e-collar comes in handy to override the brain, kind of snap him out of that mindset and get him back to you. In the home, if Rory is fine and he's an angel, then you don't need the e-collar. If you find out that he gets, maybe he gets excited when guests come over, he's kind of like really jumpy, you'd collar him up 30 minutes prior, address whatever that is needing to be addressed when the guests arrive. And if you find that he's pretty much settled throughout the night, you can go ahead and take it off. Or if you want it on, it keeps you, makes you feel comfortable with it on, so you have control all the time, you can do that as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Post-training, it's still beyond, because again, we can't predict what's going to happen, but you shouldn't be pressing that button so much. You shouldn't be using it. It's just there for emergencies, right? So down the line, so like me or Jesse or any of our other handlers here that have dogs or e-collar trained already, like Jesse will say, keep press the button like once every 2 months, maybe, and in case something happens. So it's there for emergencies. Another common question is, how come when I take the e-collar off, why does Rory go back to being a brat, or like why does he pull, or why does he do certain things when I take the e-collar off? Jesse likes to use the example of he likes to ask the clients, do you drive on the highway? Clients usually do drive on the highway, and then he asks, do you go the speed limit? They usually say no. No one goes the speed limit on the highway. Then it's like, what happens when you see a squad car though, when you're going 70, 80 miles per hour? They slow down. So it's called opportunistic behavior. If there's no authority, if we know we can get away with something, we're going to get away with it. So it's just a nature thing. It has nothing to do with the e-collar, the training, or the way you practice, or the way we're training Rory here It's just nature, right? Some dogs figure it out quicker than others. Some dogs are kind of, they don't understand, when it's on or off or anything like that, but usually they understand it pretty quickly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
I just have one question. I can't remember what it was.
Okay. That's pretty much all. If you do remember the question, feel free to email me and I'll answer it through email.
Okay.
But other than that, and it's Madeline, correct?
Yeah, I go by Maddie though.
Maddie. Oh yeah, I remember I saw your email a while ago, and then the Instagram message. You're asking for help, yeah.
Yeah, because I just knew as soon as we got here, like it's gonna be a whole new world for him after having him raised in Oklahoma.
Yeah. You sent me a link. Was this?
I think I that was the same muzzle. I just wanted to make sure because there was a couple called Baskerville something.
Oh, I see. Oh, how do I get rid of this? All right. Yeah, if there's nothing else, it's very nice speaking with you. Keep a lookout for that follow-up email, and then we will be in touch.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.